This morning, FC Barcelona and the Athletic are reporting something very, very, very tricky um, for a player that is of about three or four clubs' interest. See, if you're a Chelsea fan, just know that Chelsea still want a right winger. They want a winger. They would want to add one winger to them. Now, if you watch the last game that Chelsea boy against Club America, you will see the importance of why Enzo Maresca's system needs a pacey, direct killer of a winger. Now, most of the times in SAR 4-3-3, what happens is that if one fullback come inverted, the three at the back, the wingers are supposed to keep the width. Unlike before, where fullback was supposed to bump up and down the pitch, and this time the wingers are supposed to keep the width. When the wingers keep the width, sometimes in transition, the onus is on them, so they will carry the ball, they will attack teams with their back to goal, and then head center backs. Chelsea are still lurking around looking for a winger. Now, why am I saying this? This morning, the Athletic is reporting something very, very intriguing. Athletic, like I said, Barca has 100 million euros deficit on their 23-24 account, meaning La Liga will not permit them to make any new signings this summer or register current first team players like Martinez or Victor Roque for their squad next summer. That is something that is not good for FC Barcelona, say Athletic Airport way. But I've said several times that in the last two seasons where Barca have not had enough money on their books, they have done something excellent with financial engineering to find ways to register players, to find ways to bring in players, which is that. And in the last few hours again, so one of the things that has been very clear is that the Athletic have come out to report that it's almost impossible. Say Barca beating your signing a brand friend Nico Williams. Hi, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If not subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification and do choose all. Share link no. May that say be our journey as then me tell or comment thing. Do you think that Chelsea will go in for a brand friend Nico Williams? Because I'm beginning to think if this boy, a player, he can be of need for to Chelsea. Paris Saint-Germain are not in there to do a deal for a brand friend Nico Williams because already the João Neves deal has been done. Will Chelsea go in there and get a deal done? Now, mind you, there are just one main reason in Nico Williams still hasn't said anything. Nico Williams will want to stay at Athletic Bilbao. Would want to do a very good job for them playing the Europa League at the San Mamé, which is very, very important with Nibrik by the Abranti friend Inaki Williams. So is that going to happen? Or Chelsea will go in there because he fits all the profiles. Somebody that can keep the weight, somebody that's pace, somebody that's direct, somebody that's has the killer instincts in the box for an assist and a goal. That eye for goal makes him stand out in the midst of other young attackers that are in the world. And that is what makes me keep on looking at that side. Maybe Chelsea will look at the way of a branch for Nico Williams. So do not close the chapter yet because one of the things that has been very clear with Chelsea this summer, they say when they want something, they really want it, they get it done. It's the same as the Philip Jorgensen deal. Chelsea briefed the media about Philip Jorgensen. 5 days later, they had the ball. So that's why sometimes the likes of Maximilian Bayer, Samuel Maradion, they are not players that they need. Because one of the things I've realized in recent times is that if Chelsea needs a player, they brief their media a week or two, the player comes in. It's the same as Renato Viega. Renato Viega, Chelsea went in there, they wanted the player, they briefed the media. 2, 3, 4 days, the ball was at Chelsea. It's same for Kenan Drisby Hall. Briefed the media, 1 week, the ball was at Chelsea. And it looks as if the new Chelsea plan in the transfer market is identify. I mean, you do all your analysis, you identify if that's the player, you go in and you get them straight away. No double thinking, no extra hula balloons on the side. Just get a player in, which is important. So I am waiting to see how this Nico Williams deal will fall through. But it's not good news for FC Barcelona. Barca wants him. Yesterday, I was saying, he said, the backup plan for Barcelona, branch friend Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo is a backup plan for him. Around 62 million. And a Barca put together a package this morning. What I'm hearing is that Barca are waiting for Dani Olmo's agents to prevent our proposal to RB Leipzig and then see how they can move on from there. We'll see if that can see the light of day. I know, say in the last few hours, the conversation about Victor Oshimen and Romelu Lukaku has gone cold. Nothing really has changed. Now, let me recount the whole thing for you. Lukaku has agreed personal terms with SSC Napoli. Antonio Conte wants Romelu Lukaku. He has discussed everything with him. He has agreed with him. He is going to come in, including salary, everything. In fact, once Lukaku is with the Chelsea under 21 team, and the team now probably be sold or go out on loan, he has one eye at SSC Napoli. Now, Antonio Conte has been clear to Aurelio De Laurentiis, any the sporting director of SSC Napoli. He has told them that Lukaku is such an important figure, important piece of our plan not going forward, and that they need to get Romelu Lukaku in. Now, Lukaku knows the way back to AS Roma is not for him. He went to Roma because of Jose Mourinho to get a chance to play in there. Another top manager that he has played with already at Manchester United. He wanted to get a chance to go back and play in there for him again. Now, Jose Mourinho has gone to Fenerbahce. Now, there has been the Rossi that has come in. It doesn't really fit how when Lukaku wants to play. Lukaku doesn't really fit into that style of Abrante De Rossi, so he wants to move away. And of course, and Antonio Conte, with him, they won the Scudetto at the Internazionale Milan. These are people that want to win, and he knows that Antonio Conte wants to win. Antonio Conte drilled him into winning. He made him believe again in himself until he wants to go back to Antonio Conte. Now, I've just told you a story of how Chelsea, anytime they need a player, they go in and get a job done. Now, Chelsea don't necessarily particularly need Oshimen. Now, it doesn't mean Oshimen is not a good player. It doesn't mean that Chelsea don't realize that last season, one of their biggest issues was about goal scoring, and then a branch friend Victor Oshimen doesn't score goals. Now, listen to this. One of the things I've said consistently for a while now, I understand as a fan, who believe he says when you have Victor Oshimen, he scores 20, he scores 30, he scores 25. Great. But last season, Chelsea did not have Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea believed that even their squad adaptability with compatibility with their former manager, it wasn't really harnessed well. So if they have this team with Nkunku, with Cole Palmer, with Nicolas Jackson, Nase, they're able to give the same numbers as Nkunku Babe, they believe strongly. Also, adding an aerial threat at the back in tossing at the they believe very, very strongly said they will be able to build a team that will compete for top four better than they did last season. And they are not in so much of a rush, not in a rush at all, to quickly do the Osimhen deal. They know that Napoli are in desperate times. Lukaku is putting pressure on them. Antonio Conte is putting pressure on Aurelio De Laurentiis. Hence, they want to be a little bit patient and then wait. And in fact, I don't expect anything monumental to change over the weekend. No. With respect to Napoli, Osimhen, and then Abrante Romelu Lukaku, I don't expect anything monumental to change in there. What I expect to be done is that both parties will sit back. They will now analyze the situation. Loan, obligation, loan, optional, loan, this, buying for that amount. Now you weigh them. You do the analysis. Does this fit into how we want to do things? Financially, does it make sense? The wage of all of those things. I've told you, Victor Osimhen's wages at Napoli is outrageous. I mean, going into the double figures in millions in euros. And it's a huge one. Same for Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku is one of Chelsea's highest paid players, £325,000 a week, which is a lot of money. And he has been on loan. Chelsea needs to make sure that they take care of all of those things. Now, if they are taking care of these things, then they need to find a way to find a resolution for Romelu Lukaku and Abrante find a Victor Oshimen in that conversation. So nothing really. Roberto Calanda and then Victor Oshimen definitely will be pondering over this deal. They'll be asking themselves, what does he do? Does he go in for this deal? Because the truth is that for Victor Oshimen and an agent Roberto Calanda, they want to make sure say in Ejumano Moyeno there is clarity and certainty about Victor Osimhen's future. He wants clarity for Victor's future. He wants to make sure, say, in the future, Victor doesn't go to a club and so be proving home. Because, of course, like he said, Osimhen player will be proving home. He's the winner of the Scudetto. He scored the most goals for Napoli to win their first Scudetto in 3 decades. He is the Africa's best, highest goal scoring player in the Italian Serie A, winning the Coppa Caponieri. Again, the highest placing African in the Ballon d'Or nominations last year, getting to 8th. He is the reigning African footballer of the year. I mean, he went to the AFCON final. Osimhen, a big name. So definitely, you can understand that his agent is letting people understand that, hey, this is not just any player out there. Say, okay, wait a minute, loan, before Fraba. You are talking about a class player, top level player. But then again, who brought the problem to Abrante and Victor Osimhen? I think it is agents. The agents no money cost signing his contract extension in December, November thereabouts, for him to sign contract extension just a couple of months ago, putting that outrageous release clause in there. That's the agents that for me I will blame. But then again, we wait to see how this Osimhen thing will be looked at. Like I said, the two teams will be looking at a strategy to see how they can move on from there and how they will proceed. Now, Conor Gallagher, as it stands now, still have not made anything clear to Atletico de Madrid. Now, Atletico Madrid air channel. Yesterday, I was explaining tactically how he fits Ochoa's team. And for me, it is really about the energy levels, the athleticism, and then the ability to lead the press from the front. And I think that Conor is excellent in that regard. For a player that can pick up the ball, that can move into those half spaces, that can put a lot of pressure on opponents, that can make it hard for you to win the ball off him. Conor is that kind of player. And that is why Ochoa wants him so much. And now the fee has been agreed with Chelsea. I've said it several times. Chelsea gave him a 2 years plus one. He decided not to take that 2 years plus one. He has said he won't take the 2 years plus one. And I've said it several times. Conor, they are weighing their options. Is it good to go now? Is it okay to go now? Or they can agree with these clubs, stay at Chelsea till January, not sign a contract extension, go for free and get more money for the agency and get more money for himself into his pocket as well. Because Conor has believed, said, whilst Chelsea have not treated him in the best way, he has been very important to them. And if he will go on his terms, not on Chelsea's terms. As it stands now, the player has still not given his green light to Chelsea, to Atletico de Madrid, and they are waiting to see when his green light is going to come. They need him. They need him. But Atletico de Madrid, they have been very, very clear. Then they need a branch friend, Conor Gallagher, and they will do everything possible to get him in there for everything to go on very well for them. Of course, Andre Santos last night has got him back to Strasbourg, a very important player for them. Last season, he was an important player for them. He helped them so much in the French Ligue 1, and they need him. Under a new manager, he wants to start preseason and make sure that everything is going on. Juventus are still lurking around. A lot of Italian teams are still lurking around for Abrantia. Your friend Armando Broja from Chelsea asked me if he's going to go. I do not know as it stands now, but this is a player that can move on from there. In the last few hours, all of these people have been saying a lot of things, and I like what Enzo Maresca has been speaking to with the Athletic and Talksport, and of course all the journalists that are in the American tour and at Chelsea, of course. And Enzo Maresca said this. He said, with James on Enzo Maresca, he has been amazing from the moment he came on. I want Enzo Maresca's quotes, the things that he said. They spoke to Wesley Fofana, they spoke to Rhys James, they spoke to Papa Efreno, Enzo Maresca as well. So I'll take you through all of them. We'll discuss it. But I want to start with Abrante Efreno, Enzo Maresca, and then what he has been saying about his team, what Enzo has said about his players and his signing money. Now, first of all, Enzo said, when the team were going to play against Celtic, they understood that Celtic were physically sharper than them. They were in the last game of preseason and they were going to play in the first game in the Scottish Premier League. Now, some of his staff were thinking that, maybe let's just sit back, let's just be calm, let's just not put a lot of pressure. He said he thought about this and no, it was an opportunity for his team to try the things that they've been working on in training and see how they can better it from there. So he was not going to sit back. And I think that one of the things that is clear with Enzo Maresca, and his thoughts are very clear. The things that he wants to do are clear. And several times, he's a players in air can master. When the players are talking about him, when the players are discussing Enzo Maresca, the new changes that he has brought in, almost everybody says that there's the clarity of thought. He knows exactly what he wants to do and he's sticking by it. And I remember at Leicester City where Enzo Maresca said, we were born with this idea, we will die with this idea. That's how he wants to play. And I think that clarity, my players are confident in how, even if they are not succeeding at it, but they are confident, they know that it will come. Because there's a clarity of thought, there's a clarity of the ideas of what the manager wants to do, which is important. And Enzo Maresca did see himself in that game. He was asked again about manager Bia or asking for time. I say every manager is asking for time, especially when you change the idea completely. Sometimes it looks like an excuse, but for instance, everyone that watches us is focused on what we do with the ball. We build from behind. But I watched many games last season of Chelsea, and I almost never saw a man-to-man high pressing. They always wait a little bit. Since we started, we have decided to go man-to-man because it is our way. So aggressive, it's big on change. And that's what Enzo Maresca is saying. If you've watched Enzo Maresca's teams, whether at Leicester City and wherever, one of the things that Enzo Maresca does is the man-to-man press. He doesn't play with a man-to-man press. All of his teams at Leicester City go in for the man-to-man press. They make sure that they press you right hand, but it has its issues. The man-to-man press, the last time I was explaining to you, immediately one player isn't in tandem and then he gets beaten to the press like that, the whole plan falls. But it's also very aggressive. If he wins, you have the ball, you move forward, you turn things over, and then you head the opponent. So Enzo Maresca is talking about signing man-to-man press now. He spoke about a lot of players as well. Spoke about Levi Cole. I know Levi. He's very good and showing what I expected. There was some doubts with Noni as in what Noni could do before he came in. But in the way I like the winger, he could be a very good profile for us. Most of all, it's just important to compete and have at least two options. So if it is not you, it can be him, and we have the same level. Talking about Abrante Feno, Noni Madueke, when he profiled him. Now he spoke about Abrante friend Christopher Nkuku, and he says, I expected exactly what the players are showing me. Christopher was injured for almost half the season, but I knew from Germany how good he is. He has surprised me, but it's not a big one. I expected that. And of course, Enzo Maresca talking about him. He went on to speak about his boy, darling boy, our friend Cole Palmer as well. And of course, in there, he speaks about Cole Palmer. He says that on only Cole Palmer, Cole Palmer has to work hard to get into his team. So Cole Palmer don't work harder, he will not going to get into his team. He laughs about it a little bit in there, but definitely he knows that Cole Palmer is going to be very important. But for me, the most important thing that Enzo Maresca can about Cole Palmer anything, usually positional play managers are not big on giving players freedom. They want to restrict you to certain zone, and I've said it several times. It's the bane. It has been the bane of some positional play managers sometimes. It's their holy grail. It's their it's their cornerstone. They build the whole system on that, on discipline, on structures, on mechanism, on certain zones and stuff like that. Indeed, when you watch Chelsea last season and you realize that some of the successes of Cole Palmer in Chelsea came from the fact that he was given the ability to get freedom and to thrive on his own sometimes. The free role sometimes to pop up in certain zones, to pick up the ball and dictate the pace of the game was very important for him. And even in the most positional managers, they have had certain players like that. You don't restrict Kevin De Bruyne to just one zone. When Pep Guardiola had Lionel Messi, he didn't just restrict him because those players are special. And that is how Abrante friend Enzo Maresca is saying about Abrante friend Cole Palmer when he returns. And so when we saw a video now, Cole Palmer is having a very, very good time. And I like the caption at the Sun for Elema saw a video now saying that Cole Palmer pictured with a mystery woman. A weird kakra for people to see that about Cole Palmer. Mystery woman saying. But then again, that is how journalists will always want to caption things and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure you've seen that video. I posted it at the beginning of the video so you could see it. But again, this is exactly what Enzo Maresca care about Cole Palmer. So I've spoken to Cole with him many times. He is not going to play if it doesn't work, and he smiles about it. I like Cole Palmer 1 year, so I know him. I know he likes a little bit of freedom, but Cole is what he is now. It's because he learned 10 to 15 years the way he learned at Manchester City. On and off the ball, for sure. He's a fantastic player. He scored over 20 goals last season. Hopefully, he can score the same, but it's not easy for a player to score 20 over 1 year and do the same the next. What he wants from Cole is to try and be himself, and of course, to give him that freedom to operate over there. And that's exactly what Chelsea manager was talking about. And if you look at all of these things that Enzo Maresca said, it is clear that Chelsea want to let Mauricio Pochettino go because of that squad compatibility. They believe strongly that the squad is very compatible with Enzo Maresca than it is with him. It was two cuts through, but I think then it was a good decision for the future. I mean, as it stands now, you have your own issues, but for the future, at least as you said, that was a very, very good one for Chelsea Football Club. And then their decision to let coach their friend Mauricio Pochettino go in there. Now, of course, players Mr. Wesley Fofana have also spoken. Wesley, I say the hardest thing was to try and forget everything about my injury and come back stronger. He's talking about the injury, now, and he thinks that he's getting out of the woods now. He's fit. He wants to come and play football. On Enzo Maresca, this is what our branch friend Wesley Fofana Ekaya about the new coach. So the style of the manager is different for sure, but the team have reacted well to it. We understand everything, and that is what preseason is for, to try to do a lot of things, to understand the strategy and the tactics. I think we are in a good place. There is a good process, and I hope there's a season for us. The manager said in the first meeting, we are Chelsea. Chelsea wins. It's important for everyone to keep this in their mind, and that Chelsea has to win. They need to find a way to win in the Barca. Wesley Fofana should be an important player if he's recovering at the right hand side of centre back. He is going to be very important, competing with the other guys for those spots in there. And if he's injured, then that's a risk for one. Risk definitely can also pop up and play. I say my target for now is to prepare and then my body for the season, get some minutes and stay fit. After a long period like this, it's important just to play, to keep training, keep playing, having minutes, and try to help the team to be successful and to enjoy it as well, because the last season was very tough for me. I hope to have a long career and I want to stay fit. Everything for the club, and hopefully things will get better for me. And that's exactly what Abranta, the friend Wesley Fofana, so about the manager. Of course, Risa said a lot of things about a good result, about he being a captain of the team, how much he wants to be better and stuff like that. It looks as if they're all saying the things that they want to see, and then they want to get in there with some good stuff. I mean, wait to see how everything goes in there. Of course, this is where we draw the curtain here at Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube for this morning's edition. Of course, the rest of the broadcast will be on. To turn on notifications, subscribe to the channel, make sure that you do choose all. We'll get back to you. Bye bye.